This winter I worked on this fusion privet, and there are all kinds of new little cuttings that are doing well, so that's very good. I think that this year it might be the year that the gaps are starting to close and that I can completely fill up the remaining parts here with the, well, I think you can still see the parts where there are foam pieces of the trunk visible. So if it grows well, might be able to close this all. So that's very good. Maybe in the coming weeks or months I can trim back a little bit the outer parts, so that I'm going to have new buds emerging from the little trunks, and that's going to be very important to fill all the gaps. So this is looking good. It has been in this pot for a year or two, and that's what really makes the difference. It's growing well, and then, well, fusion projects have to grow well before you have any fusion. So that's an important lesson for me to remember. So, looking good now. Hello everybody and welcome on today's video. Today I'd like to do some work on this privet Ligustrum fusion project, and well, it grew well. I looked at the video of the last time that I worked on this tree, and well, I added a few extra cuttings in the spring last year. They seem to grow well. So now it's probably a good idea to bundle this all together and maybe try to get a first structure, because, well, the foam trunk is only up to here. The rest are just bundled little trees. But I don't want a little small tree like that with a few horizontal branches, and no, it has to look like a tree, like a broadleaf deciduous tree. So yeah, we'll have to work in that way. So the branches must come up and then go out and up and out and so forth. So first of all, I'm going to defoliate this. So this is going to take quite some time because there are tons of little leaves, and therefore I'm going to need sharp scissors and my glasses, because otherwise it's not gonna work. So I'll be back when this is defoliated. Privet does lose its leaves in the winter, but it takes a whole lot of time. So yeah, anyway, it will regrow all its leaves in spring. So let's start the defoliation, which might of course take some time. If it is possible, I'd like to leave just a few leaves at the very end of every little tree, so that I'm sure that the tree or the cutting stays alive. So I'll be back in quite some time, because this is going to take quite some time. So see you. Okay, so I changed setting because here we have sun. Much better. I cleaned up a whole lot. I think that I managed to remove all the growth, all the leaves on the trunks here, and it's looking quite okay. I have a few dead stumps, not a whole lot. I'm going to remove these ones and replace with the new cuttings that I had. So this, for example, looks like it's dead, so I'm going to cut that off and then replace it with living one. So okay, I'm going to come a little closer with the camera so that we have a better look. And well, it's not a whole lot of work today, but I think that I'm getting really close to something here. As you can see, there are also a little small cuttings growing at the side, and the purpose of these ones is in a later stage when I'm repotting this tree, which will not be this year, I think. I'm going to lay these down, and they will look like a root. Well, I'm going to come a little closer and show that. So just to make this clear, these little guys, these all over the place here, I'm going to lay them down when they're a little thicker, like so, and then I will try to include them in the fusion at the base, which will thicken the base just a little more. And because they will lay on the soil, they probably will root, but anyway, these trunks will look like roots, so it will make a nice radial root pattern. Now I'm taking my glasses again, just looking if the trunk is visible. Yeah, okay. So now I have to look for dead stumps, dead material, which I have to get out, because you don't want anything to rot during winter. That's a problem. If I had a greenhouse or something, it would help to get these things a little drier, because all this moisture, and well, it's not helping. But there's not a whole lot of dead material. It did quite well, and every year, well, I'm getting a little closer to a nice result. That's one of the things that I like in these fusion projects. Of course, you can grow a little trunk or a cutting or a seedling, and then in years you get a decent trunk. It's also very interesting. But with the fusion things, it's nice because you always have to work on your trees. You replace little things and so, and basically that's the fun of bonsai. I think it's working on your trees. Some people like to look at them and don't work on it, which is fine too, of course. So this is looking okay. This is all alive. Here I think I might have a dead one. This one. So it has to come out. Of course, this is not very spectacular work, but I think it's important. Don't want any rotting stuff. So they break at every point where I had tied them together. So I'm going to remove these piece by piece, and I will be back. A lady in the comments of one of these videos about this fusion Ligustrum privet asked how it went, so I said I would do something about it, so here we are. And another thing, well, of course I'm not a famous person or whatever, but sometimes I have people after 2 or 3 months asking me, hey, are you still alive? Are you doing bonsai or not? And I must say, well, there are periods in the year where there's not too much to do, so I'm not going to make a video on every leaf that I cut. I think it's ridiculous. It's not helping anyone. So I disappear, but hopefully I'm coming back every time. So yeah, okay, I'm going to clean out everything now, and I'll be right back. Most of the dead material is now removed, and I'm going to try to have an idea how to bundle this whole thing. And well, I do not really intend to fix it very tightly. It's just to give it a direction for the coming month or two, because in the winter I'm going to get this piece of raffia off, because I don't want to have the whole tree wet for the whole season. Winter is cold, winter is wet, and that's gonna cause all kinds of problems, moisture and rotting. But I need to have the new growth a little closer to the trunk, so I have to do something. So I'm going to take a little piece of raffia here, so that synthetic raffia, and try not to crush too much leaves. So giving it a basic shape. I have one spot where I have some trouble. That's here. This is not good, so I'll have to take a few new cuttings here. That's a shame. I thought I almost was there with the fusion, but no. Oh, my raffia broke. Yeah, I think it's getting a little old. I'm going to take a piece of wire. It's gonna be maybe better. Okay, so this is a brand new piece of aluminum wire, and it's not a waste because of course I'll be able to reuse it. Okay, so just pushing the little trunks in the right direction. As you see, they are leaning. Now this is going to give me an idea of how this thing is going to turn out. That's a big new shoot. That's very good. Again, that's a very nice shoot too. It's perfect to fill this little gap. Here the same. So yeah, every year I'm getting a little closer to the final result. Having a little trouble here with my legs bumping the camera. So if it is moving, I'm sorry about that. Well, it's not bad. It's not perfect, but it's absolutely not bad. Okay. Yeah, this spot is a little problem here. Yeah, that's that's for sure. But overall, I must say that I'm quite happy. So still building a trunk. Now some of these trunks are splitting. It means that this might become a branch. So there's a point where you can start thinking about that. This might become a branch in the future. Okay. Same here. And now you see we are at the top and it's starting to become a little more tricky because of the remaining leaves. That's a little piece. And now I have to push quite hard to get this in the fusion. Yeah. And this will be the top. Starting to become really messy with all these leaves. And this is obviously the top of the tree. Like so, and I'm not going to cut that wire because, well, why should I? Okay. So, I'm going to have a look at the base of the trunk now. I'll try to put it in the sun so you have a better view. This is quite nice, it's already closing. This is looking fairly okay. Just a little opening here. This is not bad. Could use, is this alive? Yeah. Could use one or two here. And this is not good. I surely should try to put 3 or 4 new cuttings here. So I'm going to the hedge and get myself some cuttings. A few cuttings. You see that I just left a few leaves on it. This is what we call nodal cuttings. They work quite fine with privet in the autumn, so this is going to be okay. I'm going to try to put 3 or 4 here. Like so. Maybe a small one, a smaller one, and an extra here, like so. Yeah, work it in a little so we don't have too much air pockets. And then we have the other spot where I might use one or two more, maybe here. This would be good. What I'm also doing is taking some cuttings in another pot, and if they root, I can use them. Yeah, well, this is not really necessary, but yeah, since I have a cutting left here. Okay, so I'm going to clean the surface now just a little, because I don't want too much moss and moisture. So I'm going to take a light little brush. If you have too much moisture, trees are going to rot. So just cleaning up everything. See the moss on the trunks? That's really not good to start the winter. So it's going to take a couple of minutes. And also I'm having a look at the appearing roots, which is also very important. I think it's one of the most interesting features in bonsai, these roots that are grabbing into the soil. I always think that this is very, very attractive, if you have a good root base, of course. So I'm going to clean that up. It's gonna take me about 10 minutes to get this properly done. Starting to look quite okay. As you see, I'm uncovering some of the really fine roots here, and I'm going to cut them away. This is of course not a repot, but by doing so I am forcing the roots under the ground to take over. So this is just an absolute minimal cutting of the roots, but this way I'm improving the rest. And these little roots, they have to go anyway. Now this tree is not ready to go in a bonsai pot. First I have to be sure that every little spot is well filled. Okay, well, there are a few spots that are starting to become quite interesting regarding the roots. Like this part, I think it's starting to become quite nice. See, this is, well, the roots cross a little, but it's not a real problem because they will fuse and become a little entangled and a little wild. This part is quite nice too. And if we dig a little deeper, yeah, you see that this is becoming very, very interesting. Same here. That's some good some good roots. Yeah. So it's gonna take a few more years, but I mean, this is my hand. Look at this trunk. And look at this taper. So you cannot achieve that in 10 years with other techniques. Yeah, well, you can with chopping and growing back and chopping and growing back, but in the end, when you look at that tree, that just will be a tree full of big wounds that will probably never heal. So, from a distance, and to conclude. So here we have it, big trunk, lots of years to go before we have something nice. Like I said, the wire has to come off in a month or two, because I don't want this tree to stay wet all winter. And then we'll get some positioning of the little trunks, and we're back for a whole new growing season. Some of the holes still have to be filled, which is possible, I think, and that's all we can do at this moment. So thank you for watching, and see you next time.